Good evening, everybody. Oh, that actually went out smoothly for once. Normally, the sleeve gets caught up and it ends up folding the sleeve back in the coat. But of course, you didn't come here to find out about my coat mishaps. No, I wanted to talk about a number of things. What I want to talk about right now, other than the fact that I'm running the tap for my drink, is that Tommy Robinson was in court over yesterday and today over a crime he basically never committed. Do you remember the time where he was down at an anti-Semitism march in a cafe having his breakfast? I do very vividly. In fact, the key points to take from that shit is that Tommy Robinson was told to disperse, even though he's a journalist, which means he doesn't have to disperse in the city, number one. Number two, he was falsely arrested. And number three, while being restrained, he was pepper sprayed in the face. Now, anybody who's been sprayed with a regular can of whatever will know that if you get sprayed in the fucking eyes, it's very unpleasant. So you can imagine what pepper spray is going to do to him. Now, on the subject of this, there was a previous video that I did, which I'll be linking in the description below, which showcases, even by Northern Ireland's own friggin' laws, even if that's the stuff I used to basically showcase what they did wrong, it would stand to reason that kind of thing would also be in the UK as well. And by that, I mean, basically, the proper training and the use of CS/pepper spray. And it's not to put in your fucking pots and pans and make a good meal out of, let me tell you. Anyway, the point of the spray is to stop people from advancing on you. It's a deterrent. However, there are four main aspects of this that I've mentioned before in the video, and I will bring them up here, that they basically have to follow. One is that they cannot use it at a distance of less than 1 metre. And I can tell you for free, they did do it in less than 1 metre. Two, they can't use it in an enclosed space like a car or a small room or whatever. Number three, and this was the most important one, on a person who is restrained or handcuffed, which Tommy was when he was pepper sprayed. And they can use the excuse he resisted if I can get the words out, he resisted arrest all they want, but he never did. Unlawful use of the spray. And of course, number four, don't use it in large crowds and what have you, because basically there's the risk of hitting other officers as well. Now, that case closed today, or yesterday, whenever it was, and basically the case was literally thrown out. Like the rubbish I've still got here. Anyway, they chucked the case out because there was effectively no case to answer. Even the senior ranking officer said that this arrest, he admitted it in the dock, that it was unlawful. But on top of that, the police could also be done right now for falsifying evidence because they adjusted the date of which the arrest took place. I believe they did it for the 25th or something like that of November or October, whatever it was, when it should have been the 26th. So therefore they couldn't even get the fucking dates right, and they tried to claim dyslexic as an excuse. No, you are not dyslexic. You don't just put a 5 instead of a 6 next to a 2. If you were dyslexic, you might do something like, I don't know, if you're trying to do like the 25th, you might do 52 or something instead, but there's no shot that you would put a fucking 6 in there instead of a 5, or a 5 instead of a 6. There's just no shot. And to say that, I basically say, do not insult what little intelligence I have. And I bet there'll be somebody saying, you have intelligence? Arrgh! Anyway, the point is, the police falsified records. That is a criminal offence in and of itself. Because that would be tantamount to perjury as well. And of course, Alistair I can't remember his last name, was it Williamson? But Alistair tore the police to pieces over it. And I mean literal pieces over it. But of course the mainstream media won't tell you this. Yes, I'm afraid it's coming, folks. You know it. They don't want to tell you this, because say it with me, folks, it doesn't suit the narrative. Talk TV did talk about it, though, so I'll at least give them credit for that much. But not too much. Bear this in mind for later, because I also want to talk about GB News and Talk TV regarding St George's Day. But let's round this off first. So basically, Tommy Robinson cleared of that charge. And if anything, the police responsible for that report should be charged with falsifying evidence. And I think compensation should be paid to Tommy Robinson, A, for harassment, and B, for the undue assault that he clearly didn't deserve. And this is nothing to do with, oh, I want to defend Tommy Robinson because of his views, or I want to support Tommy Robinson because I believe his cause is just. It doesn't matter whether or not you like or dislike Tommy. Even reporters on the fucking day that this arrest took place said what they were doing to Tommy was fundamentally wrong. When you have even other frigging mainstream journalists saying that shit, you know you fucked up. And what it boils down to is I could dislike his guts for all I care. You could. Anybody else could. Or you could like him. Or you could admire him. But what it comes down to is human rights. And they try to trample all over his. Thankfully, that's been brought to a close now. And now Tommy can freely go in his capital city. Which he should never have been banned in the fucking first place. Quite frankly. But that's just my humble opinion on it. Now, the big one. GB News, Talk TV, and St George's Day. I truly wish I could have been down there on St George's Day. I really do. But obviously, I have to put my newly acquired job first and my well-being first, above all else. If it fell on a Saturday or Sunday, I might have considered it. Because then obviously it would be on the weekend. But I couldn't be there. I wish I could. But from what I've understood, there was a lot of jovialities, there was a lot of people in pubs being friendly and what have you, and just everyone having a good time. Everyone was having fun at this festive event. Now, why do I say festive event? Because St George's Day should be a national holiday. It is where people show off their British nature. I wish I had a red cross along here now, but then it probably would be unfit for work. Anyway, I wish I could have supported that shit myself. I really do. I wish I was down there. Can't stress that enough. Because what we saw was men and women and children and the elderly, people of many ethnicities and races and religions, coming together to celebrate being British. Unfortunately. Don't string me up yet. Unfortunately, our police are Anglophobes. I'm calling them out right now. Because I'm not afraid to say this shit. Our Anglophobic police, the Metropolitan Police, they decided to clash with the people. They had people in fucking full riot gear and on mounts as well, horses. They brought the fucking horses into this. I probably suspect that could make a meme in and of itself. But where are the animal rights activists here? Because if this was a protest, like, for example, what's going to come up on June the 1st, where Tommy Robinson basically is going to march a whole load of people down and expose two-tier policing. Well, he doesn't need to do that. The police do a good job of that themselves. And that's actually an expression I use, actually. I say, I don't need my job to be any harder. I do a good enough job myself. Anyway, the point is, they bought in everything in the kitchen sink to deal with unarmed, innocent St. George's Day festive celebrators, basically. Ordinary British people. And they brought the battens out. Are you fucking kidding me? Is this really what the police have stooped to now? Where now it's just a matter of, oh, these guys, they are British. They love being British. They must be far right. No! Some dickhead who went on Talk TV as well, a lot of people who are going on GB News and Talk TV were making out the rhetoric, as usual, of the supposed far right. You know, the ones that are in their fucking invisibility cloaks and they're going to attack Parliament any second now. Those far right people. Like, oh, just fucking Christ, man. And we have people like Julia Hartley-Brewer, who I had a great deal of admiration, shall we say, for that woman. Likewise, I like GB News, but I can't let this slide. Because even those two alternate media sources decided to try and sully the innocent people on that street who ended up getting harassed by the police, because that's really what it boils down to. Harassed and attacked by the police. Because the police's favourite tactic is they like to kettle in, and I'm not talking about this kettle, but they like to kettle in people, usually middle-aged men, and then basically attack them. They attacked us. Or sorry, them. Because I wasn't there, unfortunately. The police instigated this shit. I guarantee you, they wouldn't even think, let alone attempt, to do this to a pro-Palestinian movement. Guarantee it. So I don't spill that. Do you really think they would even spend half a second thinking of harassing Palestinians or Muslims or Antifa or Youth Demand, that fucking Palestinian and Just Stop Oil unholy alliance that have now formed and have basically gone out of their way to graffiti a Labour building? Do you think they would get the same response from them? I don't. Do you know what I think would happen if they even attempted that shit with them? All hell would break loose. And they would basically have media coverage showcasing the police and their unjustified behaviour. On top of the fact that Islamists would just basically go ahead and beat the shit out of them. Or start stabbing a few of them. Because some of them do bring weapons. Let's not forget that. Antifa have also brought weapons in the past as well. Let's not forget that. But the reason, as said, and I cannot stress this enough, the reason the police will do this to us and not the Palestinians is because they know damn well we won't resort to breaking the law. But I have a feeling that is going to change very soon. You see, people have had enough of being pushed around and walked over like a doormat. All it takes is for one person to decide they've had a knife, or sorry, they've had enough, pull a couple of knives, or a knife, and go around stabbing people, and then there's going to be a war on your hands. And you know who'll be responsible for it? You, British police. You will be responsible. I don't advocate for it. Let me be absolutely clear on that. I don't advocate for violence. I wouldn't justify the use of violence. I would actively condemn anybody who did the violence. But I'd completely understand if anybody resorted to that, the reason why they did it. Because what it boils down to is our police are hoping we'll still stay passive because they believe that we're just good little sheep and that we'll do as we're told. Well, no, we're not sheep. We're wolves. We have fangs. And if we sink our teeth in, you're going to know about it. Just like that. And we have people like Julia Hartley-Brewer and the Muppets and retards who are the guests on shows like Talk TV or GB News, who go along with the supposed far-right rhetoric. And as always, I put it in air quotes because there is no far-right as far as these guys are concerned. They are just ordinary British people / patriots who love their country and hate what the country is becoming, which is basically a British Islamic state. Let's face it. Or even a British police Islamic state. Take your fucking pick. But we're sick of this. And we all know damn well they won't even dare have somebody like Tommy Robinson on their platform. You know why? Because he would absolutely fucking destroy them in seconds. Hell, just his existence there would destroy mainstream outlets, let alone alternate media as well, who have had the audacity in the past to publicly libel and slander him, which he can sue GB News for, by the way. I'm not sure if they retracted their statements on him about, I can't remember what it was I talked about, but I know they made statements against Tommy Robinson about all that shit, about a protest he went to, and they said that he had attacked, oh, that was it, they said that he attacked a police officer as well. That was something, when he never did. He actually got into a taxi and left. I think it was the Piccadilly area or something. That kind of libel and slander. Just remember that. But these people haven't got the balls, whether up here or down there, or in my case, both, to actually stand up and say, you know what? Yeah, let's have Tommy Robinson on. Let's have him let's have him fuck up his words. Anyway, let's have him air his views. They won't dare do that. I accept that. They won't even entertain that idea for 3 seconds, let alone 5. But I want GB News and Talk TV to put their fucking money where their mouth is and have someone big like Maya Toosey or Paul Thorpe, who's actually made a video about wanting to go on and speak to them as well, which I will link in the description below as well. Have someone on who will speak the truth, who is a wolf ready to pounce, who is ready to destroy the mainstream narrative and this bullshit rhetoric of supposed far right and the police having intelligence. Police intelligence. Don't make me fucking laugh. They couldn't have intelligence if they put the whole collective force together and put their fraction of a brain cell together. Even I've got more fucking brain cells than them, and I only have 2. Which may be more than some people, but I digress. But they literally tried to use the excuse, oh, what was it? A former police commissioner as well, no less, who pitted with Julia Hartley-Brewer, who said, well, they may have had intelligence that there was going to be far-right threats, basically, at this event, at this festive day. It's not a protest. There was no fucking reason for the police to be there. None. It was just people flying St. George's flag, the white and red cross, or white flag, red cross, you know what I mean, and basically celebrating a national day. The police instigated this. Not the ordinary people. The police did this. But I dare you, I challenge you, GB News, Talk TV, Julia Hartley-Brewer, have someone like Paul Thorpe on. Put them on your channel. Put your money where your mouth is. Do you believe in free speech? Do you believe in both sides being able to have their say? Or are you going to cop out like the other mainstream outlets? Are you going to turn tail and run like a little bitch, bluntly speaking? You're all good at giving that, like a little chihuahua. Oh, but when another real dog comes along and starts barking, you cower away. You've done that with Tommy Robinson. Prove us wrong. Prove that you're not just like every other fucking mainstream media outlet. Do it. Have someone like Paul Thorpe on. Have someone like Tommy Robinson on. Because the only way you beat the supposed far right, or anyone for that matter, is you have them on your platform and debunk their insane ideologies. If Tommy even has one. I'm not saying he does. I'm saying it as like a theory and a, you want to do something, that's how you do it. I want GB News and Talk TV to put their money where their fucking mouth is and have them on. If they do that, they'll clear their name, for sure. They'll prove they're a voice for the centre and the alternate right people. The people who have had enough of mainstream media lying to them. Their support right now is, literally, to use it again, it's on a knife edge. It's up to you how you fall on this knife. Do you fall the right way? Or do you fall the wrong way? I'll leave that to you. And as for the Metropolitan Police, Mark Rowley, the people of Britain demand your resignation. You are not fit for purpose, and you have shown your treacherous ways, traitor. You have shown you are more interested in policing people who tell the truth, rather than basically arrest people who present a real threat to national security, as well as a threat to this country, or people who are committing acts, criminal acts in this country. You'd rather arrest someone at a fucking coffee bar or a cafe having his breakfast. You are a disgrace, Mark Rowley. You need to go. Ideally, I'd prefer it if his fucking contract was terminated, because that would look a lot worse on him. Maybe that's me being malicious. I don't know. But someone like him has no right to be a police commissioner. Ever. And I do accept that he's probably nothing more than a mere puppet for Sadiq Khan. Or maybe I was right first time. Or it's still cold. Anyway, he's, I accept, probably another puppet on a string for Sadiq Khan. But what it boils down to, he has the responsibility to say, no, do not do that. Or, yes, go ahead and do that. And he chose to have the police focus on Tommy Robinson, rather than the Palestinian cunts who are usually breaking the law and being aggressive, or Youth Action who were allowed to go and spray the Labour HQ building. Which didn't Just Stop Oil do that already? Yeah, that just proves a point, doesn't it? Traitors, the fucking lot of them. Well, one day, British police, Metropolitan Police, corrupt establishment and lamestream media and complicit motherfuckers in the GB News and Talk TV ring. One day you're going to piss us off too much. And when you do that, it's all going to go up like a powder keg. When peaceful resolution is impossible, or when you make, I should say, peaceful resolution impossible, you make violent revolution inevitable. We have a duty now. Each and every one of us, next week, has a civic duty to head to the polling station and put that little tick next to reform. We need to take out the trash. The Palestine cunts. The corrupt police needs to be disbanded and then reformed as a proper British police force. Our government swamp needs to be drained of all the dregs and the traitors that still litter it in the houses of treachery. I mean Parliament. Or again, maybe I was right first time. People like Rishi Sunak, people like Tony Blair, people like David Conman Cameron, people like treasoner Theresa May, just to name a few. And we need to put our people first, put our national security first, and put our well-being, not these illegal immigrants, first. Because at the end of the day, we have a duty just as much as they do. David Cameron said it better than anyone else could. We're all in it together. Yeah, they are all in it together against us. And remember, people shouldn't fear their governments. Governments should fear their people. Never forget that. So next time you're at the ballot box, put that tick in the right box and make sure we drain this swamp and take out the trash out of this country once and for all. Because that's the only way we're getting our country back. Thank God Tommy got his victory. Thank Christ that we have people recording the Metropolitan's two-tier policing and their blatant, well, it's not even aggravated assault. They blatantly committed common assault towards our people. And let's expose more of these shills in GB News and Talk TV. Because at the end of the day, media is meant to be impartial and unbiased. And they need to make sure that they are not slandering their own people. Because if you piss off the wrong person with your rhetoric, I guarantee you, there'll be hellfire and brimstone land on this country, metaphorically speaking, when the British people wake up, or have already woken up, I should say, and decide, you know what, we're taking over. You got two choices. You can either start respecting the British people and start treating them like adults, or you can face the consequences of your actions of going against the British people and feel the full force of their wrath.